Chatham County is one of the fastest growing places in North Carolina. The area has had a 20% population increase in a decade.
And that was before news that VinFast plans to build an electric SUV plant in Moncure. This week only on WRAL, our Matt Tallhelm is on his way to Vietnam to show you how the company is already affecting life in the Triangle.
Right now we're traveling from here at San Francisco International Airport on a Vietnam Airlines flight set to arrive tomorrow morning. When VinFast arrives in North Carolina, it will bring thousands of jobs to an area already experiencing growing pains. All you have to do is listen to let the sounds speak to the growth in Chatham County.
We're getting ready as fast as we can because we know they're coming.
Cary-based developers Tim Smith and Bubba Rawl
we sort of saw it coming.
Started buying up land surrounding Pittsburgh's historic downtown nearly 2 decades ago.
We realized the growth was coming through these mega sites, and now that's coming to fruition. And we're getting ready for those people to move here.
Chatham Park now covers more than 8,200 acres. The first 550 homes are going up in the Vineyard neighborhood, and construction is underway on Mosaic with restaurants, shops, a hotel, and 350 condos and apartments.
In 5 or 10 years, we expect there'll be 15,000, 20,000 more people here living and setting up businesses here.
The boom is sending home prices soaring in Chatham County. The median sales price so far this year is $600,000. That's a 23% increase over last year, and out of reach for the average VinFast worker making just over $51,000 a year.
VinFast workers, their average salaries are not going to allow them, to contribute really to this economy. Not when we've got the housing the way that it is.
Orange Chatham Association of Realtors President Michelle Hoball hears the sounds of growth.
What's that? It's that sound right there.
Attracting people to the county every day. But she says the price of housing is going to drive VinFast workers away.
I think that surrounding counties will probably reap the benefits more than Chatham County will.
We're going to see the kind of growth that I think Wake County saw.
Karen Howard is chair of the county commissioners. She says they're changing policies and putting funds toward affordable housing. The county is also developing a plan for the area around the Moncure mega site to determine where they'll need new schools, public safety, and infrastructure.
All of those things have to be thoughtfully planned out so that they're not wholly on the backs of current residents, but that we're not finding ourselves lagging.
Back in the building blitz at Chatham Park, developers are promising at least 7.5% of all the housing that goes up here will be affordable.
It's important for us to be a community that everybody can live here and everybody can work here, and everybody's a part of the community.
VinFast's parent company actually builds housing and has created an entire ecosystem around its headquarters in Hanoi. That's something we'll show you this week from Vietnam. For now, from San Francisco International Airport, Matt Tallhelm, WRAL News.
WRAL is the only local station invited to visit the VinFast plant in Vietnam. Our crew will arrive in a few hours, and they'll share their experiences tomorrow on WRAL Morning News.
Only on WRAL, our Matt Tallhelm shows us the future of manufacturing coming to North Carolina.
We're inside what VinFast calls the General Assembly Shop. This is the VF9. It's one of the all-electric SUVs that the company will make in just about 2 years in North Carolina, rolling off a production line just like this. We're on this tour with journalists from the auto industry who tell me this kind of access is unprecedented. The pounding of the presses starts the process of molding these 20 to 50-ton die casts of metal into an automobile. This is the first stop for the pieces that will weave their way through VinFast's factory. The facility's manufacturing director came from General Motors. He walked with us through a tour of the 5 workshops housed in these expansive buildings. Right now, VinFast is producing 250,000 cars each year at this 3-year-old facility. That's 38 cars per hour, spinning and pivoting through the almost entirely automated body shop. Sparks fly as these 1,200 robots weld 6,000 pieces together to build the form of each vehicle. 450 workers in this shop ensure the technology keeps the line rolling along. Our tour rolls on through the General Assembly Shop. This is where the car bodies become the VinFast sedans and SUVs that drive on the streets. Along a line that stretches nearly 2.5 miles, they're outfitted with 3,000 components, from the interior and exterior to the engine. By the end of this month, every vehicle produced here will be electric, powered by packs put together on site. Battery cells are sorted and assembled in an automated process, then checked by the human eye. A battery production facility like this one is planned for the second phase of VinFast development in North Carolina. The state's first automaker may not look as futuristic as this manufacturing facility. More people will be hired to meet the incentive requirement to create 7,500 jobs. But this gives us a glimpse of what's to come in this tree-covered mega site just 30 minutes outside Raleigh. This reclaimed swampland in the port city of Haiphong is now covered in roads connecting the workshops across more than 800 acres. Riding through it feels massive, but it's less than half the size of the footprint VinFast plans in Chatham County.
And Xin Chao, good morning. Hello, live from Hanoi, Vietnam, the capital city. We are out here. We made our way from VinFast's factory about 2 hours from here. We're in the old quarter right now. I say good morning because it is 5 a.m. here in Vietnam. You can see the streets are pretty quiet, which is very different than they normally would be. This will be buzzing with a lot of scooters and cars. We're about to show you that in just a minute. You know, we've showed you so much about the economy here in Vietnam, but we want to share a little bit of the cultural experiences as well. We've been able to take advantage of some of that in between visiting all of these VinFast sites. Now, we started out at the Tang Long Water Puppet Theater. This is water puppetry, and it dates back to the 11th century. It was entertainment for the farmers and fishers in the countryside here. It features songs, a dance of fire-breathing dragons, and puppets that are guided by performers. They actually stand in the water behind a screen. And then from there, we hopped into a cyclo or rickshaw for a tour of the old quarter. Our cyclo driver carefully pedaled us through the chaotic traffic with the cars and scooters, pedestrians coming from every direction. I mean, it was kind of crazy out there. Our guide told us that traffic lights are more of a suggestion here in Hanoi. We definitely saw that. Cafes and bars, though, they're filled along the sidewalks. There's a lot of French influence here from the time that Vietnam was under French control. Now, this old quarter is actually one of the densest population centers in all of Asia. Coming up on WRAL News tomorrow, it's today our time, but tomorrow your time, we will actually take you to one of the sites that VinFast and Vin Group, its parent company, is building here. They do everything from schools to residences, all kinds of things here. It's an ecosystem they've created, more than just the VinFast cars that are coming to North Carolina. We want to show you a little bit more about this company and what they're bringing to North Carolina. That's coming up tomorrow on WRAL News.
You know, it is incredible to see how huge that facility is there, and to know it's going to be even bigger here in Chatham County. Yeah. Matt Tallhelm reporting live in Hanoi, Vietnam. Thanks so much.
I look forward to seeing Matt behind the wheel of one of those cars. So that's a great time there in Vietnam.
Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Only on WRAL, we're taking you into a new city taking shape in the suburbs of Vietnam's capital. It's being built by VinFast's parent company, Vin Group. This live, work, play community has the feel of a tropical version of Chatham Park on steroids.
WRAL's Matt Tallhelm is live in Vietnam to show us how Vin Group is transforming that country. Matt?
Yeah, Gerald and Lena, a couple times during this trip, we've heard it described as they are capitalists controlled by communists. Now, we've made our journey here, a 2-hour flight to southern Vietnam. This is the South China Sea. Take a moment and just, breathe in the beauty of all of this. We are here at Vin Pearl's resort in Nha Trang. This is actually the very first one of the resorts that Vin Group founded. This company is growing. It is now a business that values itself worth more than $39 billion.
The Vin name is everywhere in Vietnam. Vin Pearl on a seaside mountain, Vin Homes on suburban real estate, and of course, VinFast on vehicles. But what does it even mean?
The first thing I thought was, ooh, I better get on Google and figure out who this is.
Chatham County leaders tell us they had questions about the young car company.
How stable are they? How confident are we that they're going to go through with this?
As they negotiated the deal to get VinFast to build the first factory outside Vietnam in North Carolina.
We surely did our share of vetting of the company.
VinFast is part of Vietnam's largest conglomerate, Vingroup. Its business ventures include homes, resorts, shopping malls, hospitals, schools, and a university. Vingroup chairman Pham Nhat Vuong built his fortune around an instant noodle company in the 90s. He's now the wealthiest billionaire in Vietnam. We got to see the Vingroup ecosystem, as they call this community. A 45-story glass office building and rows of apartment towers rise above former rice fields to create the skyline of Vin Home's Ocean Park. It's just 15 minutes outside the congested center of Hanoi, where the government is trying to move people out of the overcrowded old city. And Vingroup is capitalizing on that in this development. Right now, 50,000 people live here in apartments with rents half the price of central Hanoi, or in luxury villas surrounding man-made rivers, lakes, and beaches. There's a Vin School, the largest private education system in Vietnam, Vincom Mall, one of more than 80 across the country, and Vin University. The university's president and Vingroup vice chairwoman welcomed us for a campus tour. Students here are working toward degrees in a partnership with Cornell and University of Pennsylvania. All of this was built in the last 4 years, almost as quickly as VinFast went from a newly formed company to creating electric cars that will soon roll off the assembly line in North Carolina.
Now, don't expect to see Vin Homes or Vin Pearl Resorts popping up anywhere in the U.S. I actually asked a representative from the investor relations for the company, do you plan to do anything like this in the U.S.? And they said, no, the only brand they're taking global right now are the VinFast cars. And speaking of those, coming up tomorrow on WRAL, it is our last day here exploring VinFast in Vietnam. We will get to take a test drive of the VF8. It's one of those electric SUVs that will be produced in Chatham County. They actually created a track for us here. We'll be the first ones to get to drive on that track. We'll take you along for that ride tomorrow.
Watch that speed limit out there, Matt.
I mean, you could not be in a more glorious location.
We're not going to get in any trouble on the roads.
And temperature in the mid-70s there in South Vietnam right now. So you are living large, my friend. Matt Talhelm in southern Vietnam. Thank you, Matt. We look forward to seeing your report tomorrow.
We are. It is beautiful.
All right.
Welcome back. I can't wait for you to see this one. It's time to go for a spin in an electric SUV that a Vietnamese company plans to build at a new $4 billion factory in Chatham County. Now, only a handful of people in the world have had this view behind the wheel VinFast's VF8. Only on WRAL, we're putting you in the driver's seat and talking one-on-one with VinFast's global CEO about the automaker's future right here in North Carolina. Our Matt Talhelm joins us live to finish off this week of reporting on VinFast in Vietnam. Matt.
Yeah, Julian, earlier this week, we showed you the VF8 here as it was rolling off an assembly line here in Vietnam. This is one of 2 models that will be produced in Chatham County, and we were some of the first people in the entire world for an island in the South China Sea.
This is where the rubber meets the road for an electric SUV that's not on the road anywhere yet. We got behind the wheel of the VinFast VF8 on a closed course winding through the island mountainside in Nha Trang.
We are some of the first in the world to get to take this VF8 out for a test drive.
Our instructor An showed us the technology, controlled through a nearly 16-inch screen.
It's integrated with a lot of smart features.
And voice recognition, so you can talk to your car.
Hey, VinFast, turn up the air conditioning. It's hot.
We waited for the wave to take off.
He's waving me through up to 120 kilometers per hour.
Make it 120 kilometers.
I think 120 is about 75 miles per hour.
VinFast is moving ahead at its own high speed to get the VF8 on the road in the U.S. by the end of the year. Those will come from the factory here in Vietnam before it becomes one of 2 electric SUVs the company plans to build in North Carolina. It's the 5-year-old automaker's debut outside its home country. I asked VinFast Global CEO Thuy Le about that in a one-on-one interview only on WRAL.
A lot of people won't get the opportunity to come to Vietnam to test drive a car here in the mountains. How do you get them to trust that a young Vietnamese car maker is going to be successful in the U.S. and in North Carolina?
Seeing is believing. We win bring the car to the consumer. Our marketing is direct to consumer. We bring the car to consumer, we let people test drive, and event similar to in Vietnam or elsewhere, people will be convinced.
Tweet tells WRAL work will begin in the next week to prepare the nearly 2,000-acre site in Chatham County for construction of VinFast's $4 billion factory.
The message that we like to give to the people in North Carolina, in Chatham County, North Carolina, in the U.S. In general, we are serious about what we're doing, and we would like everybody to give it a try and keep an open mind.
I gave the test drive another try.
Should we get it up to 120 again?
But I'm no gearhead.
Pretty much mainly cover electric vehicles, so I guess that's why I'm here today.
So we'll let Andrew Lambrecht share his first impressions of getting behind the wheel of the VF8. He's a contributor to Forbes Wheels and a North Carolina native.
So first impressions, I've driven a lot of EVs before. It felt very similar to the Volkswagen ID4 and a lot of its competitors.
Lambrecht says with some small software tweaks, VinFast can compete to put more electric horsepower on the highway.
I have high hopes for VinFast, and I really hope that just with some changes, this car will do very well in the U.S. market.
All right, I'll take it from there. VinFast is trying to make a name for itself in the U.S. and worldwide. We were there as the CEO signed an agreement with Ironman for naming rights to the long-distance triathlon championships through 2025. VinFast will also be the exclusive electric vehicle partner and provider for transportation at more than 150 Ironman events in 50 countries. All of this is about promoting the company across the U.S., Europe, and Asia, where a lot of people don't know the name VinFast yet. That will start with the SUV, that is, and the bigger VF9. Now, VinFast expects to start production in Chatham County 2 years from now. They plan to expand the build of e-scooters and electric buses. The CEO says VinFast is also looking to develop electric pickup trucks in the future. Great reporting all this week from Matt Tolham and Laura DeSarmo. They kept us informed, and I feel like I know what a VinFast will drive like. All right.
This is the future factory site for VinFast in Chatham County. You can see it right here from Drone 5. Right now, the Vietnamese automaker is clearing land at the mega site in Moncure to prepare for construction of a $4 billion plant that promises thousands of new jobs. Only on WRAL, our Matt Tolhelm sat down with the company's U.S. CEO to find out if the project's fast timeline is on track.
Bulldozers and excavators line up to clear more land for VinFast's factory in Chatham County.
There's ton of work because I've been there, I've done that.
Van Anh Nguyen helped lead the startup automaker's first factory in Vietnam.
I was, honored and proud to really witness the company to, grow from zero, from scratch.
It was built on swampland in just 21 months. Now Nguyen is building VinFast from the ground up here as CEO of manufacturing for the new $4 billion factory in Moncure. We showed you this view of the massive tree-covered megasite in July. This is what it looks like now from Drone 5. Nguyen tells WRAL this site will have similar buildings to what we saw on our visit to VinFast in Vietnam.
We got the press, and then we have body shop, we have paint shop, and we have general assembly.
2 electric SUVs will be the first to roll off that assembly line. Right now, nearly 1,000 are on a ship from Vietnam to California to deliver to the first buyers here in the U.S.
Now that shipment put us on the map of a global automotive companies in the world.
VinFast plans to produce its entire line of electric vehicles here in North Carolina. Nguyen is ready to see the VinFast emblem driving down the street.
You will be seeing that. You will be seeing that. Maybe I'll be the first person to drive that one. I'm so looking forward to that. I'm so excited.
And Nguyen tells WRAL they've hired their entire production leadership team for the factory in Chatham County. They're training at the factory in Vietnam right now, and she says VinFast expects to do most of the hiring of 7,500 workers in 2024.